Hey, hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing what is most likely not an original idea at all. Yesterday I woke up and I realized, oh my god, I should watch a bunch of if you liked this book, you should read this book videos and then read this book. And then that day, G from BookRoast posted a if you liked this, you should read this video. So I said, hold up, instead of watching a bunch of them, I'm just gonna watch hers and hopefully there are some books on there that I haven't read yet. I'm just gonna read them. Most likely even if I haven't liked the first books. And I feel like I should say really quickly, like if I do end up reading these books and I don't like them, like there's no way I'm gonna be blaming her. This is all just good fun, right?
Different fashion and trends, as well as liking a strong romance subplot with occasional somewhat mysterious, tiny bit creepy twists and plots. You might have enjoyed Caraval. And if you enjoyed Caraval, I have a feeling you might also enjoy Spin the Dawn. Caraval, obviously.
Ooh, really quickly, I've read both of those books, didn't enjoy either of them. So I'll agree with her. I could see how they'd be similar. Okay, I definitely have that one on my TBR, but after I read The Martian and didn't like it, I was really conflicted about whether or not I was going to continue on, because I've also read Artemis and I felt pretty neutral about Artemis, but if my library has it, I'll give it a shot.
There's a darkness between them. These are very tragic stories, very deeply hurt. They just carry such deep hurt, and you go through all of that hurt with the character together. I think both of these books, I think you would have enjoyed The Poppy War, and if you haven't read,
I was gonna guess it was The Poppy War.
And if you did like this, I do really think you are likely to enjoy the 5th season.
I've read both of those books. I think I rated The Poppy War like a 4.5, 4.75, and I think I rated the 5th season. What did I rate it? Like a 4, 4.5, something like that. So
angst. So much angst. So for the first one, you might have guessed it. It's Red Rising. I think it fits the template. You might actually really enjoy The Bone season.
Hold up. This is on my TBR. I actually just bought this earlier this week and it showed up and I've been meaning to get to it for a while now. Definitely 100% be reading this book. I did not like Red Rising. I think we're gonna stop here. I will definitely try this again in the future with other videos, and maybe those videos will be a lot more books. Hi, it's been a few weeks, but I have officially picked up The Bone season, which I'm hoping this is explained later, but there are 2 6s. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Anyway, I wanted to come and talk to you last night when I started it, but some things have been happening with my family and I had to watch my grandma for a while. Health reasons. She's doing better, but she's old. And sometimes old people don't get completely better after they have injuries. I decided to take my book with me because she was mostly going to be sleeping while I was with her last night, and I decided to start it, and I didn't take my camera because I wasn't going to be at my house, and I really wasn't sure if I was even going to be able to read, but I was. Now, what I read last night, I did not enjoy. In fact, there were many occasions that I was like, I think I'm gonna DNF this book. Like, I am not feeling this book. It's not good. It's not enjoyable. I'm so confused. The jargon of this story is like old-timey and British, and it's just a weird combination of it takes all my brain cells to read. But I kept going because I was like, I want to at least get to the 60-page mark before I make any final decisions on whether or not I'm going to DNF this book and then cancel this video. And I'm so freaking glad I did, because now I can't put this book down. I'm already at page 115 and I was at page 70 this morning when I woke up, and I'm literally getting home from work, which means that I read on my way to work. I was reading at red lights, and I read on my lunch break, and I'm about to stop now, go make dinner, and then sit down and read some more. I'm really enjoying it. I see the comparison to Red Rising. The thing is, it has all of the things I loved from Red Rising and none of the shit I hated from Red Rising, so I'm enjoying it, and it's making me want to retry Red Rising now that I'm kind of in a different mindset. But yes, I 100% agree that it reminds me of that book. It is an adult story, which I wasn't expecting. I guess I thought it was going to be like YA, but it's very adult, and it is a dystopian. I guess I was expecting like a futuristic fantasy setting, but it is dystopian. Don't really know what I can tell you, to be completely honest. The first part of the book, we're following this girl named Paige. She's a clairvoyant, which means that she is outlawed, but it's really weird because some clairvoyances are hunted and some aren't, and they're like ways to hide them. I really am having a hard time getting a grasp on how this world works, or even how clairvoyancy works, to be honest. And I'm hoping if I just continue going that it'll just make it a little bit easier for me to understand. So she's a clairvoyant. She works for this like kind of like a gangster, and she has this special type of clairvoyancy which is super rare, and so she can do special things for him that like no one else can do. The book starts out and she accidentally commits a crime right at the beginning of the book, and so then she's hunted by the police and she is taken to this place to pay for her crimes. The place is called Oxford, and I'm not going to tell you anything about it, but that's where I'm at now, and she's kind of going about learning what she's supposed to be doing here, figuring out that her world is not as she thought it was, and then also kind of starting to rebel and starting to figure out a way to go against it because she doesn't agree with the way that people are being treated here at this place. So I see the connections to Red Rising. There is kind of a trial that she's going through, kind of like a training thing, but it's not like a huge effort or anything. And where I'm at, she's still just kind of learning about things. I think where I'm at, she just became a pink jacket, if that means anything to anyone watching. I'm really excited to continue on, and like I said, I've actually already read the part that I needed to read today to stay on track with my reading, and I'm going to be reading past it. And last night, right when I finished up my section for the evening, I ordered book 2, and it should be here later this week, so if it arrives, I'll show it to you. And I'm highly considering shoving off everything else that I had to read in order just to marathon all 4 books in this series right now. We haven't talked about this book in a while, and I'm over halfway at this point. I'm at page 265. So I guess it's time to do a midway check-in, and then I'll talk to you guys at the end. I'm loving this book. I am contemplating giving this book 5 stars. I'm really conflicted because the first 60 pages were so hard for me to get into the book that I'm like, can I give a book 5 stars if it really was a struggle for me to start? But also I've started to realize something in the past year. Ever since I read The Rune of Kings by Jen Leons, which I love, I've started to realize that especially when it comes to adult books, the author's job is not necessarily to make everything easy for you. I definitely used to think that that was something that was part of good writing, and that it was almost a requirement for them to make the book easy for you to read, understandable for you to read, make it so that you could get through it at a certain pace. But after I read The Rune of Kings and I finished it and I loved that book so much, and that was so confusing and so complicated and just kind of hard to get through, well, I was contemplating whether or not I would give that book a 4 or 5 star. And then one of my friends who read it with me told me that the author did it on purpose. She made the book confusing and hard to read on purpose. And then I started to realize when it comes to adults writing for other adults, making things easy isn't a requirement. And so when it comes to this book, I'm starting to realize that that's not a thing that I necessarily need to be taking points off for, because I couldn't understand part of the book. Once I got to around page 200, she did have like a big explanation for kind of how the magic in this world works, and I was able to understand a lot of the things a lot better, and I am getting through the pages like a lot faster now, but I'm genuinely in love with the story. I genuinely love all of the characters, even like the awful ones. I think this book has a really good representation of gray villains. I wouldn't say that our main character Paige is necessarily super gray. She does tend to follow like the good line of like what a good character should do, but all of our villains are very gray, and a lot of our side characters are very gray as well, and that's something that I just genuinely really enjoy. So it's going to depend on how the next like 100 and whatever pages are that I have left on what I rate the book, but it's very much so going in the direction that I'm going to be rating it a 5 star. And if not a 5 star, then a 4.5. I don't see this book being a 4 star. I see it being like a 4 point something if I don't rate it 5 stars. I will say I'm not spoiling anything in this video, which is making it a little bit difficult to talk about the things in this book that I want to talk about, but the character Warden is one of my favorite characters of all time. He's going to have like a special place in my heart, which is funny because when I look at that special place in my heart that has my favorite characters, a lot of the characters are very similar to him. Can you hear my computer fan going off? It's trying to render something. He's funny, but he's doing it in such a blunt, non-hysterical way, and he's just so straightforward and unemotional. But I genuinely feel like he cares about Paige and about humans in general, and so it's kind of like that character who hates everyone but doesn't necessarily hate the main character. But I definitely feel like he's more of a father figure to Paige than he is a love interest, and I would be kind of disappointed if he became a love interest, because then we would fall into the trope of like, you know, 1,000-year-old man falls in love with teenage girl. I know there's also a fourth book out, but I believe that the first 3 are a trilogy following Paige, and I don't know if like the fourth one, and I think there's gonna be like 7 of them, are still going to be following her or just going to be in this world. Am I enjoying this more than The Priory of the Orange Tree? Yeah, I weirdly am. I genuinely liked The Priory of the Orange Tree. I had some issues with it, especially with some character arcs and kind of where they ended. My issues all kind of came at the end of the book, to be honest. I so far am loving this, and to be fair, I just said that my issues were at the end, so the end of this might mess me up and might take me for a ride. I have literally just finished the Bone season, and I rated it 5 out of 5 stars. It's Friday. I finished it earlier than I was planning to, which is just a good freaking feeling. I actually downloaded the electronic copy from my library on my phone, and I was reading it while I was waiting for things to happen at work today, because it was kind of a slower day, so I was waiting on a lot of stuff to get to me, and I absolutely can't wait for the sequel to show up. My copy of the Bone season doesn't have any of the novellas in it, but my copy from the library has one of the novellas at the back of it. I think it's The Pale Dreamer, I want to say is that. So I'm actually going to probably read that tonight or tomorrow morning and just see how I feel about her novellas. And if I like them, I might see if there's like a bind up of all of them that have been published so far and try to read that. I want some content. I want more of it. And I don't know what I'm going to do when I read all 4 of these, because I'm going to probably read them very quickly. I would assume by the end of February, I'm going to be done with this series. I don't know when this video is coming out to you all, but it's December right now. That's why my Christmas tree is right there. Let me turn on the lights for you. Ta-da! I was wrong about the relationship between our main character and her love interest. There was a shock, a reveal, a twist about this one character that she was interested in, and I actually was very shocked by it. I think part of that happened because Samantha Shannon like didn't give any clues or hints about anything, and I respect that. The ending was really good. I really enjoyed it. It didn't have any of the problems that I felt like Priory had. Anything else I want to say about this? Since I'm not spoiling anything, I kind of feel like there's not anything else I really need to tell you all. It was awesome, and I see the comparison 100% between it and Red Rising. I would also say that there's a slight comparison between it and An Ember in the Ashes. Like, if you were a big fan of that series, this is like almost an adult version of it. It has some of the similarities basically between one character being in a position of power, but they don't want that position of power, and another character basically being a slave and having to work for that position of power. And if you're a fan of, you know, ancient daddy falling for almost teenage girl, then I actually didn't mind it so much. I will say when they did finally get together, I guess that's technically a spoiler, sorry. When they did finally get together, for the brief time they were together, I was like, okay, I don't actually mind it. That's all I have to say tonight. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, and maybe like comment down below some other videos that people have done or that you've done of, if you liked this, you should read this, because I'd love to try it for some more. I didn't tell you, but I did check out a sample of Project Hail Mary, and I really wasn't pulled into it, so I went and read some reviews, and basically all the reviews were saying that the book is super science heavy and that if you liked The Martian, you're gonna like it. And I did not like The Martian specifically because it was super science heavy, and I know that even though it's put into layman's terms, I didn't dig it. So I decided to make the executive decision that I'm not going to be reading it for this video. I'm probably not going to read it ever. I don't want to pay for it. My library doesn't have it, and I'm just not going to do it. Thank you for watching. That's the final update I have for you all. I don't remember how my outro goes, but until next time, I'll talk to you in the comments. Bye.